I never know how to start this video. I've tried to sit down and record it so many times, but I think the words wouldn't come out of my mouth because I didn't want to believe it was true still. Now it's been over 4 months and I don't want to forget what happened, so I don't even know where to start. We do this in my support group, and I always feel like I didn't have enough time to really talk about Braxton and explain just how much he meant to me and how much he changed my life. So I guess I'll talk about my pregnancy first. The happiest days of my life. I found out I was pregnant right before I turned 30. And when I was pregnant, as the time went on, I just felt like I was in my element. I felt so confident. In the beginning, I was nervous, of course, because I'm the youngest and I've never babysat anyone, and I couldn't remember the last time I even changed a diaper. I was nervous about like, am I going to be able to change his diapers, and like how do I know if I'm doing something wrong, things like that. But as time went on, I read so many articles. I feel like I just prepared myself so much to be the perfect mom to him. My pregnancy was completely healthy and actually was perfect. That's what the doctors would tell me, and I'm sure that they say that to a lot of pregnant women because I'm young, healthy. I mean, when Braxton passed away, he was completely healthy. Yeah, my pregnancy was just such a happy time for me, and I bonded with Braxton so much. It's crazy because even though he couldn't I'm probably gonna have to cut a lot of this out, otherwise it's gonna be an hour-long video of me crying. Even though Braxton couldn't talk back to me, and I didn't know what he looked like and what his personality was like, it felt like he was just my best friend, and he was my biggest supporter. And I just had this idea of him being such a sweet boy, and I was so excited to be his mom. I couldn't wait. Okay. Try to just not cry. So yeah, I was so excited to be Braxton's mom. He was going to be my first baby. I felt like I learned everything and everything was all set. If you saw my nursery tour, you can see that I kind of went overboard with everything, but I just wanted to make sure I was the best mom to him. So yeah, like I said, my pregnancy was completely healthy and I never missed an appointment. I didn't work out a lot, but because I was scared to overdo it. But I'd go to the gym and I would walk like a mile, and I would eat healthy. I would take my prenatal vitamins and iron because I was anemic. I did everything right. And when you look up what causes stillbirth online, it will tell you, I think, like alcohol and smoking. But let me tell you that I have never met one stillbirth mom that did any of those things. In fact, the people who do smoke and drink and things like that, somehow they get to take home their babies. But anyway, that's another story. So as I approached the end of my pregnancy, oh my gosh, even Jonathan couldn't wait for Braxton to be here, and all we would talk about was Braxton. Braxton, like, is he kicking? Is he moving? We would come in his nursery at nighttime and I would sit on the rocking chair and I would hold one of his bears actually this one, I would hold his stuffed animal and I would sing to him, and I would just tell him, like, I can't wait for you to be here. I want to see you already, you know, all those things. Um, so if you've had a baby before, you know that during the last weeks of your pregnancy, then that's when you start to go to the doctor every week for your prenatal checkups or whatever. So I'm approaching 35, 36, 37 weeks, and that's when I start to ask my doctor, what, like, is he going to induce me? When, you know, what's the plan? And I don't think he told me right away. He was trying to wait for me to go into labor naturally. And that's the only information that I was given, was that it's not safe to induce, it's not safe for the baby, and the best thing to do is to wait for the baby to come naturally. And my doctor said that he would induce me at 41 weeks, or that he could go 10 days, up to 10 days after my due date, which would be, yeah, I guess 41 weeks and 3 days. So I'm still like walking and doing everything that I need to. I'm like, it's okay, you know. I'm gonna do what's best for my baby. I'm gonna wait to be induced. And yeah, week 38, I go to my doctor's appointment. Week 39, I go to my doctor's appointment. And now that I look back, I mean, mind you, I'm a first-time mom. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what seems right, what seems off. And my appointments were always really, really brief. I would go in, and my doctor would put the Doppler on my belly, and he would find Braxton's heartbeat right away and listen to it for literally like 5 seconds. And then towards those last appointments, he would check to see if I was dilated, he would check my progress, and there was no progress. So at that last appointment, he said, yeah, it looks like we're not going to induce you until 41 weeks. So, I mean, I trusted him, you know. They didn't give me any other data. I guess those are things that I'll get into later on, because I just want this video to be about Braxton and how much he means to me. He means to me. Braxton's due date was September 10th, and during that day, everything was normal. I was off of work. I was on maternity leave, but I did have one class at school that was a requirement for me to take, and it was just once a week. So I did what I always did. You know, I was nesting around the house, being OCD, doing all of those things. I went to Target. It was right before Halloween. I remember I was looking at onesies for him to wear on Halloween, and I couldn't decide. I was just, all I would do was go to Target, and I loved being there, and I would see other moms with their babies and think, like, that's gonna be me soon, you know? Maybe it could happen any minute now. I was so I don't think I've ever been more happy in my whole life. And I went to school that night. I came home. He was fine. He was moving. He would always move a lot when I would eat. And that was something that always made me smile about him, was, you know, just us eating together, and him being really hyper after I ate. So yeah, I remember something else I did that day on September 10th was that I filmed a nursery tour. And that was the day that I said, I'm gonna overcome my shyness, and I'm gonna start, you know, documenting all of this and putting it on YouTube. And I just want to have so many memories of Braxton when he was a baby, and of my birth, and his nursery, how I had everything set up, how I was so excited to be a mom, all the things we did, his baby like, I wanted to remember everything. Everything was so special to me. So yeah, that was Monday, September 10th. Everything was perfect. We went to bed. The next day, that was my due date if I didn't say it before. So September 11th, was the worst day of my life. We woke up, everything was normal again. I want to say that I felt him moving that morning, like 99% sure that I did. Jonathan went to work. He kissed me goodbye in the morning. He kissed the belly. Oh, I left this out, but the night before, we were just talking about, like, at night, you know, Braxton, or Jonathan asked me, what's your favorite part about pregnancy? And at this point in my mind, I'm like, you know, like, my back's been hurting like crazy. My legs ache. I have a worse heartburn that goes like up to here. All these different things are going on. But I'm like, no, I shouldn't focus on those things. Like, those things don't even matter, you know? And I said, I just love waking up and feeling Braxton and just talking to him, you know? Those were my favorite parts. That's what I told Jonathan. And then Jonathan, I think like his last words before saying goodnight was like, man, like he would talk to my belly and say, when are you gonna get here already, man? We want to play with you. So that was our last night with Braxton, and we didn't even know it. So yeah, going back to the next day, September 11th, we wake up, everything's normal. And I had been taking all my prerequisite classes for nursing school, and that was the day that I was going to apply. So I got ready, took all my application, all my paperwork to school, and at this point I'm walking around a lot, and I would never really feel Braxton kicking when I would walk, and I felt like that's when he would take his naps because I was like rocking him. I don't know. That was just the pattern with him. So I did that. I went to school, and then I went to get something to eat, and I came back home. I was actually eating dates because I read somewhere that it helps you with labor. So I was eating that, and then I had something else, a lunch that I was about to eat. And then Jonathan came home, and he said, how's Braxton? Is he kicking a lot? He would always say that. So, like, that wasn't anything abnormal, you know. He said, how's Braxton? Is he kicking a lot? And I'm eating, and I say, this is kind of weird, you know. Usually when I eat, he's moving around a lot. And that was when I first noticed that he wasn't moving. So then I'm kind of just like eating faster and, you know, like shaking my belly, like, wake up, Bubba. Like, and still I'm like, oh, like, you know, I felt him move this morning. So I still don't feel him move. I think only like 10 minutes went by. I start looking online, and it says, oh, if you don't feel your baby move, drink cold water and lay on your left side for 1 hour and then, you know, count the kicks or whatever. So I drank something sweet, I think juice. I lied on my side for like 5 minutes. We called the doctor's office and we mentioned it to them, and they said, oh, you might want to go to labor and delivery. So instead of waiting the full hour, we just get in the car and we drive to the hospital. And at this point, my heart is racing. And honestly, I didn't even know that Braxton could have passed away at that point. I was just afraid that there was something wrong with him, you know? And that was why we were in the car driving to the hospital and I started crying. And Jonathan's like, it's okay, like, I'm sure it's fine, you know, it hasn't been that long, and, you know, trying to reassure me. And then we get to, I think I checked in the emergency, and I told the girl I'm 40 weeks pregnant, and I haven't felt my baby move for a few hours. And she just had this look on her face, and that really scared me because I'm like, okay, like, what's wrong, you know? He's a healthy baby, I'm healthy, they told me everything was perfect, like, we're just waiting for him to come at this point. So they put me on a wheelchair and they take me up to labor and delivery, and I'm waiting and waiting, and there's babies all around. There's babies being wheeled, you know, to their rooms and stuff like that. I was really prepared. I had checked in, had done like, I had pre-registered at the hospital like a month before, so I already had this form that they gave me. And I gave that to the nurse at the desk in the labor and delivery unit. I'm waiting, and then finally they take me into a triage room. And there was the nurse that helped me. I remember exactly what she looks like, and her name was Bonnie. And she pulls the Doppler out. Which, by the way, I think it's ridiculous that when you go in for movement, all they want to give you first is a Doppler. Anyway, she pulls out the Doppler and, you know, she's putting it all over my belly and I don't hear anything. And there was someone next to me behind a curtain, and I don't know if she was getting, I didn't know what she was getting because at this point I had never heard of non-stress test or anything else, you know. So she was hooked up on monitors and we could just hear her baby's heartbeat going like really strong. So my nurse even had to go over there and turn down the volume, I guess, of her baby's heartbeat. She comes back with a Doppler. She keeps putting it all over my belly. And I know the exact spot where we would find Braxton's heartbeat was more over here to the left side. So I'm thinking, okay, she's never seen me before. Maybe she's just doing it wrong. She's not familiar with my body and with Braxton, you know? So she says that she's going to get an ultrasound technician. And I said, okay, do you know how long it's going to take? And she said, her response is, oh, why, do you need to go, do you need to be somewhere? And I said, no, I want to make sure my son's okay. So she's like, oh, okay, yeah. It'll be here soon. So then we're waiting, and I'm just like, this is all weird. Like, I'm still not really understanding what's going on or what could actually be happening. Like, it's still not, stillbirth at this point is still something that I've never been informed about. I didn't really know it could happen at that point. And what I did know about it, I just thought that it would happen if, you know, there was a problem or if it was an unhealthy pregnancy or if there was something wrong with the baby. I didn't know. So it seems like forever. And the ultrasound technician comes in. And I remember her too. She was just like chewing her gum, like so careless. And I don't mean to make anyone sound like they weren't doing their job. It's just like, those are all the things that I picked up on, you know, like this was a really important day to me. And I felt like it was just like another incident to everybody else. But, you know, she starts doing the ultrasound and I could see it from the corner of my eye. And I was trying not to look, and Jonathan was looking straight at it. And I would look over and see his face. And it just looked completely different this time. It was just still. And that's when the nurse, I think she grabbed my hand and she looked at me in the eyes and she said, your baby doesn't have a heartbeat. So I hear the words, and then I swear it was like an out-of-body experience. I can't even explain it. It felt like I was kind of lightheaded, and I was just like in this weird, like, dark dream. And I just was like, no, that's wrong. I'm like, it's wrong. Do it again. I'm like, it's not right. Do it again. And they actually went over again and confirmed it. And everything is kind of blurry here. I remember Jonathan just grabbed me and he said, "I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry," in my ear, and I'm thinking, like, it's wrong, it's wrong. All I kept saying was, it's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong. And then I kept telling him to wake me up. I was just squeezing him. I'm like, wake me up, wake me up, wake me up, wake me up, please. Because I just felt like a nightmare. So then I was just sitting there, like, in shock, you know. They took away the ultrasound machine. I think they had, I didn't see the other pregnant lady leave, but I didn't hear, like, her baby's heart rate going anymore. So I'm assuming that they, like, took her out when they found out that Braxton didn't have a heartbeat. And Jonathan stepped out, like, right away and started making phone calls because my family lives in Palm Springs. And the nurse comes up to me and she starts telling me about, you know, everyone grieves different. And I'm like, what is she talking about, you know? I was just like, can you just leave me alone? You know, like, I don't know. I didn't want to see her because she had just given me the worst news of my life. And I feel that these people never tell you that anything can go wrong until it does, you know? Like, even when I was walking in to that room, there was a doctor there and she's like, "Oh, your baby's probably just asleep," you know, like, so dismissive, and just still, like, after I come in for decreased movement, not even taking it serious, just saying, like, "Oh, don't worry about it." So, yeah, I thought that was the worst part, but there have been so many more after that, and that was how we found out that Braxton's heart had stopped beating.